Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to what is essentially the first non-Grandmaster game, according to our overlays, for the entirety of this session of casting. We're out of practice.
Yeah.
Little rusty.
Yeah.
Little rusty. But we're going to get it.
What we're going to do, though, is we're going to leave the Wood League symbol up because it's the beginning of the season, and you can never go by what the ranks are because
sure.
Like
in this game, we have an unranked and a bronzy.
Yeah, like we don't know if they were gold in Heart of the Swarm, if they were masters or grandmasters.
No
or
idea.
So we're just going to leave the Wood League up for a couple weeks
until proven otherwise.
Yeah, there you go.
That's how we're going to rock
like
it.
That.
Mr. MaximusBlack.
Yep.
Hit me up with the sound of being a little rusty. Right there, that's good. That works.
Oh, okay, I guess it does.
That works. We'll take it. Up here in the top right of what map is this? It's something. I forget
the name.
DynamicRush.
DDP.
This diamond, that's DDP.
It's a diamondcutta.
Feel the bang!
Bam, baby. DynamicRush over here in the bottom left position. It is going to be a PVT. Legacy of the Void. Let me talk a little bit about PvT because...
Okay, you play Protoss, so let's hear a little bit of PvT. And you haven't vetoed this map.
No.
Okay.
No.
So we really can talk about this now. So what do you got for us?
Well, I mean, the map is pretty standard. I don't think it's a pretty balanced map. But in terms of the matchup itself, I find Protoss has a very tough time against Terran right between the beginning to, not beginning, but I would say mid-game. So once the mid-game hits, and I think it's mainly just because...
What unit comes out mid-game, or what tech switch or upgrade happens mid-game for Terran that makes it difficult?
Well, what the problem is you really, for one, you have to get these pylon placements correct. And you're going to see this a lot now in Legacy, and it's a smart thing to do.
The old triangle.
To start putting pylons in behind the mineral lines.
Right.
Because not only are Reapers going to come here and start harassing, but if you have two pylons here and nothing back here, remember, your overcharge can only go on pylons and the range is only so far.
Right.
You can't overcharge your Nexus anymore, so you really have to get these pylons spread around, and especially in PvP, where Adepts are so good at killing probes, it's 2 shots per probe.
Right.
And if they come and hit you and you don't have adequate pylon spread, you're just going to lose too much, you're going to lose the game. But back to PvT, not only do you have to have good pylon placement, but you have to strategically put these pylons in a place that they can work not only at the beginning game against such things as Reaper or even proxy Reapers where you're getting multiple of them at your base, but also you got to have these pylons work for you in the mid-game. And now when I say that, is there's always going to be some sort of drop in terms of Widow Mines, which are the big thing that Terrans do. They'll go ahead and although this guy is weird, he's not building any SCVs, but he is getting a couple factories. So it looks like we're going to see maybe a bunch of Hellions or a bunch of Widow Mines. But back to what I was saying, the drops that happen, all it takes is one Widow Mine to blow up, half your mineral line, and that hasn't changed. But if they do come and they have a medevac full of Marines or a couple Marauders, they can focus down on these pylons back here and kill off your overcharge very quickly with Stim. So you have to have more than just one pylon, or at least have them spread so that the radius of them are kind of hitting in 2 in one spot so that they overlap with each other. You don't necessarily have to have them side by side, but having one here and having one here is better than having one here and then having one over here. Because if they do a drop back here and you photon overcharge this pylon to stay alive, get rid of Widow Mines or get rid of that medevac, they're just going to focus this down and kill this immediately, and your mineral line is going to suffer, and you're not going to be able to overcharge anywhere else. You're going to find yourself in a world of trouble. It's not like before where you could just overcharge the Nexus and then you're good to go.
Right.
It's much different. So you have to strategically put these pylons in place not only for beginning, but mid-game. And I just find the mid-game so tough.
What?
What the He's transferring.
Oh, okay.
Big transfer. It's a little bit too much. But yeah, so it's dealing with those initial drops that I find really tough and not taking so much damage so that you're in an okay position. Now, of course, you can go ahead and get a forge and get some cannons, but I'm not really big on doing that unless you absolutely have to, because it puts you behind and they can just go, okay, well, you're going to get too much cannons, then I'm just going to go my Marine Marauder Brawl and run up the middle.
So ideally what you're looking for is knowing the range of the overcharge on the pylons, is you want to have them pretty much equidistant on the range so that their range overlaps around whatever you're protecting. And in this case, that's why the triangle, the old The old flying V from the Mighty Ducks is
go.
working particularly well here because it is adequately covering from all those 3 positions the probe line. Now, saying that, the 2 pylons out front probably could be spaced further vertically apart on the main.
Yeah.
But besides that...
That's okay, though. I mean, this isn't bad here. What he's got going on, it isn't bad. Another thing that becomes annoying is when you start getting multiple drops, say, on up here at your main and down here at your natural, your mothership core used to be able to just go and overcharge the nexus from, like, right here. Well, now you have to kind of go... You have to bring the mothership core all the way around and get to that specific pylon.
Right.
You know, it takes a lot more time than just kind of going back and forth and overcharging and then coming here and then overcharging. You have to come a lot closer, overcharge a pylon. Oh, look, this pylon's being attacked back here. Oh, it's already dead. It's just stemmed and gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I'm supply blocked. Now my production isn't going. I am in a world of trouble.
So you're basically building pylons now as almost like cannons, where you're not using them necessarily to power anything, but they are in position for defensive purposes.
Absolutely, you nailed it.
Because in the early game, it's okay to be using them for dual purpose, but in the mid to late game, you have to start building pylons for defensive purposes only, so that you don't completely, get yourself into a situation where you can no longer build from your gateways or, upgrade or whatever you're doing.
Exactly. And I know what I'm saying, it all sounds negative because it isn't. The photon overcharge on the pylons are good, but I find that against specifically Terran, it is the worst because if they come up here and you have, say, 3 pylons, you overcharge all 3 at once, they do damage, but when there's medevacs, they're not one-shooting Marines. They're being healed, and then it's just like they just one-shot dead, one-shot dead, one-shot dead. And before you could overcharge that Nexus and then have to focus so much DPS on that, it's 2,000 damage, health points that this has, including the shields. And then, of course, they got to deal with the army as well.
Right.
It wasn't, it's very...
I had a really elegant solution to this. I put in your chat in your stream when we were originally talking about this like weeks ago. I can't remember exactly what it was anymore, but I thought it was something along the lines of when you're overcharged on your pylon. Some people were saying make them invincible. That's not the solution.
No.
But it is the shields to it. I think a temporary shield boost of a certain amount is adequate to probably do that. I had a much more in-depth thing that I came up with for that. But interesting place for his expansion. Diamonds.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Wow. I was gonna say not to take away from the Protoss talk, but I'm a little intrigued by that. It's gonna continue. It's
actually gonna work out for him.
It's gonna work out for him here. It's gonna confuse the hell out of DynamicRush because he's going to see that there's nothing here. Now that signals a 1-base Terran in Legacy of the Void signals what?
Well, it would have signaled a 1/1/1 that he would have already seen.
Right.
This Widow Mines to be expected here, but he would have. At this point in the game, at 8 minutes in Legacy, which is like, 16 minutes in the old StarCraft.
Pretty much.
Because you start with 12 workers, he's got to be thinking that there's got to be something else on the map at this point. I mean, unless this really is a bronze level game, and they're just sitting...
Then you never know.
Then you just wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But he has got to think something at this point. Can't be thinking, oh, dude is sitting on 1 base, but I haven't seen or heard from him at the 8-minute, 30-second mark.
So 1/1/1 is still totally a thing in Legacy, and is it the exact same build as it was before? Like it hasn't changed?
Yeah, you just get you just go right for the racks, the factory.
So it's the old school son of a bitch fuck build.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
Except you get it a lot faster. But once again, you get things a lot faster as Protoss or Zerg. So it all balances out. It's just the game is sped up quite a bit more.
The timings have changed essentially, and that's it.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I'm going to say this is lower level, just looking at the macro happening for both of these gentlemen here. But he's looking around for something. He's looking for another route into the base. Is he going to elevator up here?
He is. And the good thing about the War Prisms, if you guys don't know this, is they have very, very far range now. You can pick up things. You don't have to be over top of them.
Well, he tried to elevator them, but they kind of just went for a ride up and then immediately back down to where they were.
Well, what he can do is he actually can put the War Prism here, and he could still pick these guys up.
Oh, so it's a significant range boost.
Yeah, see that?
Wow, that's
huge. And it's basically, if you ever watch my stream sometime, you'll see what I do. I do a crazy all-in with Stalkers and Zealots, and I use it as a way of blinking. So,
I think it was Boxer, the first person I ever saw. This was, I think, still in Wings of Liberty, maybe very early days of HOTS, where he expertly placed a dropship right on the edge of a ledge, so that he could literally, with the most speed I've ever seen somebody dropship, just literally elevator up an entire army in no time. And this is scary.
This is a very scary army. In fact, this base is toast.
Yeah.
And he's going to go ahead and waste his Widow Mines. He's got some siege tanks here and some Marines. He is going to be able to get rid of these Zealots, but it's really the Colossus.
That's just game over.
Well, actually, now he's not going to be able to get rid of anything. He just lost all his Marines. Unless this is some sort of crazy game where he just... Oh, that's a lot of Widow Mines, dude.
Bury them right there.
Burrow them.
Burrow them there. Not right in front of them.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Oh, shit.
Holy shit.
I apologize for... Oh, my God, your ears at home.
Holy shit.
Oh, my God.
He has the upgrade so that they burrow faster.
God. Are you kidding me?
And his whole army just got wrecked.
Are you kidding me?
I was not kidding you. It's very real. Look how fast they go down. Oh, it took 4 Zealots to take it out before it burrowed into the ground.
Well, that's a way to do it. Okay, well,
Whoa.
that's not how you... Well, there you go.
Well.
I mean, well done, but then he had to ruin it.
Yeah, he dropped the F-bomb.
Now he's a douchebag.
Yep.
Well, what do you do? DynamicRush surviving the Diamond Cutter, which not many people do.
No.
No.
No, not a lot of people do that at all.
That's a one and done. You catch that Diamond Cutter off the ropes. Out of nowhere. That's the original Out of Nowhere, by the way. It's not this RKO nonsense, which is literally the Diamond Cutter.
It's literally the Diamond Cutter. Yeah.
Which in turn is actually a modification of a move from ages and ages ago. But regardless, nonsense, the whole lot of it. Good game for this level.
Yeah, I mean, we had lots to talk about. So I mean, in the bad games, there's so much to discuss. There's so much theory crafting to do now, and so many different things. It's the wild west of Legacy right now because there's no real concrete builds. There's very very few. People are still trying out so many new things, especially when you start with 12 workers. Do I get 3 expansions quickly? Do I do a crazy cannon rush? Do I do a 5 proxy gate? Do I do, there's so many things that you can do, and there's so many things that you can't do that you used to be able to get away with because you start with so many minerals. And the meta has changed so much. But either way, solid game, another normal-ass game. Please, guys, send those in to lag.tv. Don't forget to hit that like button if you guys are enjoying the content. It really does help us out. It's a good way of showing your appreciation. And, yeah, that's pretty much the show.
That's going to be it. We will be back very soon. Peace.
Peace.